Well, I'll try to, but thus far my exposures haven't convinced me that's the case.
I think what Mr. Bodner is probably referring to is the degradation over time of publications like Time and Newsweek, which when we were your age were more serious and looked much more like The Economist than they do now, with tiny little print and very long articles and tiny little pictures. Now there's so much less space devoted to the word and so much more to the photos in those magazines that it's a little bit dismaying. But I think that I hope some magazines will survive, not by becoming too popular, but by finding their particular niche, whatever that is. It might be progressive politics, it might be religion, it might be analyzing the global economy. But if they can find that niche and maintain it, they don't have to pull themselves down to the least common denominator. I think. I'm not sure.
Well, my observation is that when we look at this and there's less print, more picture, I'm going to make the argument there's less thought and therefore less ideas. And it becomes less of a thought engagement with the reader. And that's something that I kind of cherish. And I think if we looked at U.S. News and World Report, who did resist the transition, they got slaughtered with circulation, with advertisement. And they yet were quite a reliable magazine. So, you know, there's a lot here. And obviously the age gap, there's a variable. So, and we respect that.
Well, also, and photographs are not inherently meaningless. They do have a lot of meaning if they're important photographs. So I'm not opposed to the use of photographs.
Well, let's go to our closing question. And that simply asks, what closing comment might each of you like to offer regarding the course and consequence confronting those of us who worry about the future of reliable, thoughtful, cohesive print journalism? Caroline, would you like to start off?
I think that not necessarily us, well actually I guess Max and Siegel and Mr. Bodner also, anybody who works as a journalist or anything, I think it's important not to sacrifice content like so many magazines and publications are doing, because that's just kind of, rather than saving print media, it's just doing it a disservice. So I think, like Ms. Forstrom said, it's really kind of important to find a way to get, since so much is going to online, I think it's important to find a way to make online have a price so that it has the quality.
It's a good observation. Mrs. Forstrom?
I'm just hoping that we'll get to a point where if it does in fact have to turn towards the internet, and that needs to be the primary place where we find our information, I just hope that over time we find that we have good and reliable information that's available to us, that perhaps they'll figure out a way, and I don't have the answers, otherwise I wouldn't be sitting here with you, but I hope that they do find out a way to bring us that high quality information. If it needs to be on the internet, so be it. But I want to maintain, I would like the quality to be maintained and the reliability to be maintained.
Mrs. Siegel, what are your closing thoughts?
Well, I agree with Mrs. Forstrom and Caroline so far. The Founding Fathers put in the First Amendment to the Constitution a protection for the freedom of the press. It's the very First Amendment that tells me that it's a very important part of our democracy to have a functioning, healthy, active media or press. Does this have to be a print medium? I think that history has shown so far that newspapers and magazines have been an essential part of our democracy. And I don't mean just our democracy on a national level, but at the local level as well. Who's going to report on what happened at the school board? It all can't just be on a blog. You do need an unbiased reporter from a reputable paper going to a school board meeting, going to a zoning meeting, going to all these meetings that not all of us can attend. So we need our representatives from the press there to give us that information so that we can be good citizens. So I think it's very important that the print medium survives.
Max, what are your thoughts?
I mean, as far as journalism goes, I don't worry too much about it. I mean, you might worry about that the print journalism is going by the wayside, and I would argue that it is to some degree, and it will eventually be gone. But as long as there is a market for news and commentary on the intellectual level of the New York Times, the Atlantic, there will be someone who will come along and find a way to make money providing it. I'm not worried about that.
Well, you're certainly assertive about it.
Yeah.
Well, we will have to close our discussion with that as our final comment. I want to thank our panelists, Vivian Siegel, Tracy Forstrom, Max, Caroline, for sharing their time and thoughts with us. I speak for all of us when I say we hope that you found the program interesting and enjoyable. Certainly, the future of traditional print media is meeting challenges of e-journalism, and it will be something important to follow as we move toward the future. We hope you will join us for our next program, in which we will have a discussion of 4 student panelists that will address what Masuk did this year with its new summer reading program of a book club style for our junior and senior students. Otherwise, we wish you well and have a good day.